I have a question for you. What would internal equality feel like to you? That question about internal equality has come to me this week because of what's happened to me this past week. I created a structure for this project. So I tried it out for a week and it seemed doable. And then last week I did it again, and then I hit exhaustion. I hit absolute exhaustion, which led to weakness. Those are my two gene keys within my Radiance and Purpose, Gene Key 40 with the shadow of exhaustion, and Gene Key 37 with the shadow of weakness. And I thought, oh my God, am I going to come up against this every week? I'm going to have all this creative output, and then for 3 days, I'm going to be a vegetable. I'm going to be so tired. I'm going to be so worn out that I can't even do my own inner work. What's within weakness is the gift of equality. So where did my gift of equality go wonky that I fell into my shadow of weakness? And that's what my guide, Haley, helped me to realize. So, you've been along on this ride in this project. I have decided I'm going to do 3 different elements every week. And so that structure was very necessary for me as this creative project was born. As it came into the form, I needed that structure in order to give my creativity some boundaries. But do I still need that structure? Or has that structure now become constricting? Has that structure now become intimidating? Has it become domineering? Has it become something to dread instead of something to embrace? So when you actually look at the term equality, I asked you, what would internal equality feel like? When you are looking at that idea of equality, a lot of us might have this sense that it's sameness or fairness or that kind of thing. But one of the aspects of equality that Richard talks about is the equality of the yin and yang. So the yin being the feminine flow, that connection to the heart, that connection to the unconscious, that connection to all beings, heart-led aspect. Then you've got yang, which gives us that power and that structure and that masculine doing part. And I had this structure, this yang structure of 3 elements every week, and so all I had to do was come to these elements and perform. It can become very performative, that yang structure. But what Richard says in this 37 is the yin and the yang need to be balanced, yes, but in truth, the yang is there to hold the yin. And that's really, really important piece. So, and it might be something difficult for you to hear because our culture has not taught us this in the past. We have not come from hundreds of years of this being a part of our lives. We've come from a very patriarchal system, which puts the yang up at the top of the hierarchy. The yang holds the structure for the yin to flow. So what I was doing in my project that made me so exhausted at the end of it was I was allowing the structure of my project to lead. The structure was the leader. Well, wait a minute. This whole project was meant as a way for me to do my own inner work on the Sage's Golden Path retreat, Venus sequence journey. That's what the whole project was about. This was not all about me doing a project that is this, and this. No, this project is meant to hold the yin of my inner life to flow. And I was being constricted by my very own project. So, yeah, I had my little cauldron already with all my questions that I've curated in a very yang kind of a way, all ready for today. And I couldn't do that because that's not the yin expression that wanted to come out today. The yin expression wanted to show you how what I've been going through this week has led me to crack open that seed of weakness and look at the equality part that had gone wrong. I was not equal in this project. My yang was overcoming my yin, and it needs to be flipped. And it needs to be flipped for the rest of the frickin' project, because the yin is the one that has the creative impetus. The yin might want me not just to make videos like this. The yin might want me to make a whole art journal page as I'm talking. The yin might not want me to do slides. The yin, who is truly wanting me to reach the next stage in my own transformation, needs to be the one who's in charge. And so lovingly can ask the yang for a different container if the one the yang is providing is too constrictive. So now that you've heard that story, and I could go into this whole thing about how this is right on time whenever you start a new sphere in any of the Gene Key's Golden Path sequences, you are going to come up against your shadow. It's going to happen because you've asked for it. You've asked for personal growth. So you are going to get whichever shadow you are in, you're going to get a flare-up of that shadow so that you can see it in front of you. And that's what happened to me this last week. I had this flare-up of the shadow of weakness. And it showed me something beautiful that I could share with you. Thank you. Thank you for listening.